Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. This is a game that went from being the reason why I avoided turn-based RPGs for most of my life to becoming one of my favorite video games of all time through this remake, which is probably the most dramatic shift I've ever had and ever will have in terms of my opinion of a video game. Now, I never thought Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door was a bad game. Obviously, people say a lot of good things about it, but I did have this game as a kid, and because of the turn-based battles being so slow and difficult, caused me to not even get far enough in the game to really get to the parts that make this one of my favorite games, being like Chapter 4, Chapter 5, Chapter 6, Chapter 7, etc. That's when I think the game really picks up and gets good. But when I was a kid, the game was just too difficult, and when I did get through that difficulty, it didn't really feel fun or worth it. I don't know if I'm just really bad at video games or something, but for some reason, Hooktail Castle, the first main area in the first chapter of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, is like ludicrously hard, especially for a kid. Like, I got this game as a kid, growing up with the GameCube, and I just wanted to play a fun Mario game, jump around. The turn-based battles, yeah, they were slow and kind of annoying. I kind of wanted to get on with everything. I think I ran away from most of the fights. But this difficulty, man, this is footage of me playing the game today as a 27-year-old and after playing the remake. And even though I do a lot of perfect defenses and do everything mostly correctly in the best way I can, I just keep dying on these dry bones. I know that I probably should be buying items, and that's the way I guess you get through this area, but I think that items should be an optional thing, not a mandatory thing in order to beat the game. Like, even Paper Mario 64, even though it is tougher than the remake of Thousand Year Door, compared to the original, the earlier chapters are easy enough to get through without having to go out of your way to buy items. I guess turn-based RPGs traditionally had grinding. Maybe you gotta do a lot of grinding in the GameCube version. I've noticed that in the Switch version, you get a lot more coins, you get a lot more free items, and I think you also get more star points. And all of that combined finally got me to play through the game and get to the parts that are really good. I actually initially wasn't even going to try out this game. The only reason why I did is because I bought Luigi's Mansion 2 HD with a Nintendo Switch voucher, and I already had an extra voucher. Didn't know what game to get. Even though I tried Thousand Year Door and didn't like it, you know, people over the years have said it's really good, and, you know, I already bought the voucher, so might as well put it towards giving a sale to a franchise that could use it in order to go into the direction that the fans really want. Because as we all know, Paper Mario fans were very disappointed by every game past Super Paper Mario. And rightfully so, because, oh my god, this game is, like, really good. Which is weird to say, because this is like a Mario RPG. Mario doesn't even talk in it, even though this whole genre is story-based. And the overall setting and premise of the game isn't really that insane. It's just collect a bunch of stars to open a door and go to a secret lair. But it's the dialogue along the way and all like the mini stories that are contained in each chapter. There's nothing in here that I think will like blow your mind or anything like that. But the consistent quality and just general enjoyment I got from the game from Chapter 4 onwards was just some of the most fun I've ever had with a video game. I really love all the cool platforming elements and overworld exploration there is in this game. It really makes it feel more like a Mario game than an RPG, even though there is that battle system. The way you can like swap and use your partner to tank some of the damage and timing everything correctly and all the strategies you can do are really fun, assuming the game gives you enough tools and makes the enemies weak enough for you to have enough leeway to actually be able to go about battles without having to have the perfect strategy. Like, I seriously don't know why Hooktail Castle is so difficult in the original game. Maybe this is just a fluke with this chapter in particular and the rest of the game gets easy, or intelligent systems just expected you to grind a bunch and get a bunch of items because that's what you normally do in RPGs, but this is a Mario RPG. This is going to be a lot of kids' first introduction to the genre. It was my first introduction to the genre, and I feel like this extreme difficulty really just tricked me into thinking I didn't like turn-based RPGs at all. Because let's be real, if you keep bashing your head against like the same fight over and over, the game is gonna get boring. It's not exactly fun to backtrack, get some items. Every time you lose all of your progress and go straight back to the save block. You know, if I really put my mind to it, you know, as an adult today, I can beat the GameCube version of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, but for kids who are getting into RPGs for the first time, they aren't used to backtracking, they're just used to go, as you do in like 2D Mario or 3D Mario. If the intention is to grind, I just think that was the wrong decision to put into a Paper Mario game. In particular, I don't think a Paper Mario game needs to be like a Final Fantasy game, like a super traditional RPG. I think a lot of the charm that comes from Paper Mario is that it is a more simplified version of this genre. So yeah, it's not like I disliked Rogueport or Hooktail Castle and the little bit I saw of Chapter 2 as a kid, but the gameplay wasn't fun and the story wasn't interesting enough to continue playing. Obviously the overworld gameplay I liked, but for me, it was just frustrating. And since my parents only let me play like a very limited amount of video games as a kid, I just decided to use my time on other games. So while I've had my GameCube disc of Paper Mario like for the last 20 plus years, I never really got further into the game until this remake came out. And I'm so glad I did because there is just such an amazing game here. And the fact that it comes from the GameCube era, the era I grew up with, the era that made me fall in love with the Pikmin series and the Sonic series with Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2, to kind of rediscover a GameCube game that I didn't really fully give a chance due to its high difficulty and not really wanting to bother with that, has been such a cool feeling. I also had that with Metroid Prime Remastered last year, where I did own Metroid Prime on GameCube, but I couldn't get into it. I just kept getting lost. I didn't really want to invest my time into learning the game. I just kind of jumped into it, couldn't really get the hang of it, and quit. But when I gave it another chance with Metroid Prime Remastered, I completely fell in love with the game. And now the same thing has happened with Paper Mario to probably an even bigger extent, if I'm being honest. I actually like this game more than Metroid Prime, although Metroid Prime is still an amazing game. These remakes that have been coming out from Nintendo lately have been complete bangers. Like this remake of A Thousand Year Door, they fixed everything that you would want to fix in this remake without changing any of the elements that people loved about it. I mean, they even added back in elements that people loved about it from the Japanese version, you know, with the lore of Vivian being trans and all that, and, you know, restoring some other parts of the original dialogue that were tweaked a little too far from the original Japanese versions when they initially localized this for the GameCube version. And then one last thing before I go, I have to talk about the music in this game. I have to talk about the remixed music because the battle themes go hard. They go hard. Particularly, my favorite battle theme is the one in Chapter 3. It might be my favorite Mario song, like in the entire franchise. I'm not kidding. Listen to this. Dude, it gives me the chills every time. It made it worth going through all these battles in Chapter 3. And the swaying back and forth of Goombella with the music. I know it is just an idle animation that is playing over the music, but all the just little movements and extra animations and the music and everything, it just makes it so much more hype and fun. It's like, yes, I'm battling, I'm in a battle, I'm playing Paper Mario, this is awesome. Whereas like with the old music, it's like, yeah, you know, it's fine, but you know, I'm in a kind of tedious battle, I want to get out of it, I want to explore the world. But here, no, I want to keep battling, the music's too good. I love the guitars, I love the rock vibe. Obviously, I'm a Sonic Adventure fan, so I would love that stuff, but I know for people who've played the GameCube version a lot, you know, this is very faithful to the GameCube version, and maybe all of these nice additions don't really matter to you that much, but for me, all the additions to make the game easier, and just making it look better, and all the animations, and the new music, it turns this from a game that I didn't really care for, into a game I absolutely love. Like, I'm absolutely in love with this game. It is so good. To the point where I'm revisiting the whole Paper Mario series. I'm already halfway through Paper Mario 1. I'm gonna replay Super Paper Mario after this, and then I'm gonna go play Sticker Star and Color Splash for the first time, which will be an interesting experience. I may talk about it on this channel when I actually play through it, but those are just kind of my thoughts on the remake itself. I think Nintendo did an amazing job with this, and I really hope that more GameCube games get remastered because this was just such a treat to play through. And a surprising one at that. I mean, I wasn't even excited for the release of this game. I was happy for the fans of Paper Mario, but as I said earlier, I bought this game basically on a whim because I had an extra voucher. So if you had a similar experience to me with Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door in the past, you thought it was a little too hard, you thought the first chapters were kind of like, not the most exciting in the world, play the remake, get to Chapter 4, continue through the game, you will not regret it, or maybe you will. And then if that's the case, you can yell at me in the comments. But this really is, like, a 10 out of 10 game. I don't even know what I would do to make this game better. Like, with almost every video game, even the ones I love, I can think of like various things that I could add to it or change in order to make it more enjoyable. But with this game, I can't even think of any more improvements they could have made in the remake. This is just great, except for maybe the ability to fast forward the text. I think that was taken out, and doesn't matter too much for a first playthrough, but for subsequent playthroughs, I can see that being annoying, especially with the transitions between the battles in Chapter 3. But those are just my thoughts. I would love to hear your thoughts on this game in the comment section below. Did you have a similar experience to me? Do you think I'm just bad at the game? Whatever opinion you have, you know, whether you're in agreement with me or think I'm dumb, let me know, because I love discussing this stuff with you. Anyway, that's about it for now. I'll see you guys in another video.